Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. Joe's mother would not use his nickname and always called him Joseph. Give a nickname to. A descriptive name for a place or thing. The nickname for the U.S. Constitution is Old Ironsides. A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. The name used to identify the members of a family, as distinguished from each member's given name. A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. A familiar name for a person, often a shortened version of a person's given name. Give a nickname to. Raise someone to knighthood. Provide movies with a soundtrack of a foreign language. The new sounds added by dubbing. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. Inclined to or serving for the giving of names. The appellative faculty of children. Pertaining to or dealing with or used as a common noun. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. A class of one kind of unit in a system of numbers or measures or weights or money. He flashed a fistful of bills of large denominations. A group of religious congregations having its own organization and a distinctive faith. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. The act of designating or identifying something. The act of putting a person into a non-elective position. Identifying word or words by which someone or something is called and classified or distinguished from others. A geographical indication used to identify where the grapes for a wine are grown. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Look on as or consider. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Make a prediction about. Tell in advance. Order, request, or command to come. She was called into the director's office. Utter a sudden loud cry. Pay a brief visit. The mayor likes to call on some of the prominent citizens. The option to buy a given stock, or stock index or commodity future, at a given price before a given date. A demand by a broker that a customer deposit enough to bring his margin up to the minimum requirement. A demand especially in the phrase. The call of duty. A telephone connection. She reported several anonymous calls. A loud utterance, often in protest or opposition. Greet, as with a prescribed form, title, or name. She calls him by first name. Demand payment of a loan. Give the calls to the dancers for a square dance. Get or try to get into communication with someone by telephone. I tried to call you all night. The characteristic sound produced by a bird. Make a demand, as for a card or a suit or a show of hands. He called his trump. A brief social visit. Senior professors' wives no longer make afternoon calls on newcomers. A demand for a show of hands in a card game. After 2 raises there was a call. An instruction that interrupts the program being executed. Pascal performs calls by simply giving the name of the routine to be executed. A request. Many calls for Christmas stories. Ascribe a quality to or give a name of a common noun that reflects a quality. He called me a bastard. A special disposition, as if from a divine source, to pursue a particular course. A visit in an official or professional capacity. The pastor's calls on his parishioners. Call a meeting. Invite or command to meet. The 1C conference was called to discuss the final solution. Challenge somebody to make good on a statement, charge with or censure for an offense. He deserves to be called on that. Challenge the sincerity or truthfulness of. Call the speaker on a question of fact. Consider or regard as being. I would not call her beautiful. Declare in the capacity of an umpire or referee. Call a runner out. Indicate a decision in regard to. Call balls and strikes behind the plate. Lure by imitating the characteristic call of an animal. Make a stop in a harbor. The ship will call in Honolulu tomorrow. Order or request or give a command for. The unions called a general strike for Sunday. Order, summon, or request for a specific duty or activity, work, role. He was already called 4 times for jury duty. Read aloud to check for omissions or absentees. Require the presentation of for redemption before maturation. Rouse somebody from sleep with a call. I was called at 5 a.m. this morning. Send a message or attempt to reach someone by radio, phone, etc. Make a signal to in order to transmit a message. Hawaii is calling. Sports, the decision made by an umpire or referee. He was ejected for protesting the call. Stop or postpone because of adverse conditions, such as bad weather. Call a football game. Utter a characteristic note or cry. Blue jays called to one another. Utter in a loud voice or announce. He called my name. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. Look on as or consider. Assign a specified, usually proper name to. They named their son David. Give or make a list of. Name individually. Give the names of. Give the name or identifying characteristics of. Refer to by name or some other identifying characteristic property. Many senators were named in connection with the scandal. Family based on male descent. He had no sons and there was no one to carry on his name. Determine or distinguish the nature of a problem or an illness through a diagnostic analysis. Charge with a function. Charge to be. She was named head of the committee. Identify as in botany or biology, for example. A defamatory or abusive word or phrase. A well-known or notable person. They studied all the great names in the history of France. Make reference to. His name was mentioned in connection with the invention. Create and charge with a task or function. A language unit by which a person or thing is known. His name really is George Washington. A person's reputation. He wanted to protect his good name. By the sanction or authority of. Halt in the name of the law. Mention and identify by name. Name your accomplices.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.